Alright, welcome back everybody. Round 5, X2, XRL X2, France. It's going to be solo commentary for a little bit today. I don't know where my counterparts are. Hayes has to deal with children. He got the curse for buyers last week. Suspecting his baby was all he expected from him. I believe Mantic should be coming later on. Just me for quali, it seems like. Maybe the race, I'm not sure yet. But I think we're getting underway now. Give a second to get into quali. We have a new person join us today. I received word. Apparently he's the X2 reigning champion, the defending champion, Wayne OS 316 on the Alfa Romeo, as you can see. Looking to challenge maybe the top of Irons and Moist, maybe. Moist is on a tear right now. He's won 3 of the 4 races. He's not here. I believe he got bumped up to X1 with his dominance. But what a performance from him while he was in X2. Won 3 of the 4 races we've had so far. Not here today. Might have been bumped up to X1. Not sure yet. He might just be a reserve driver, but brilliance from him. Maybe Irons is a better shot now. He's had some very strong pace, maybe even better than Moist, but unlucky in the races a lot of the time so far this season. Looking like if Wayne does deliver on the promise I've been told he will, then it's looking like Irons and Shikari may have to fight Wayne for the, what is this, Season 9 title, I believe? Season 9 X2 title with a three-way battle with the Moist, Shikari, and Irons, perhaps. Let me just check the standings real quick so I can get the more accurate information on that. And heading to the standings now with, give me a second, it's looking like it is Snake leading the championship now over Shikari, and then Zola in third after that win in Austria. We're finding some cars on track. It's looking like the Aston Martin of Veli first out. Veli's had shown some promises in some of the races so far. Hasn't delivered yet, unfortunately. But maybe looking for a good result here. France isn't one of the more difficult tracks, one of the easier tracks to drive. A bit of technical section in Sector 1, but really tough on tires, so maybe the smooth drivers might be the ones to really benefit from the race today. They show their skills and how they manage tires in the race, knowing when to push, where to push, and not ripping your tires to shreds early on in your stint. Found that out the hard way yesterday in the dev race. I had a spin and my tires did not work again until I boxed, so it's really important to manage your tires in the race here rather than push all the way through. But yep, it is looking like Snake over Shikari in the Drivers' Championship right now. XRL Snake is on the Alpha Tower, I believe. Not here today, I don't believe. That'll put him on a back foot maybe if Shikari gets a good result. But Snake with 44 points, Shikari with 41, and then Zola in third with 34. So, I don't know, I'm kind of surprised. But Irons is all the way down to P7 in the championship with only 25 points. So he's going to be looking for a good run of results rather than just one good one, because he's had the pace to get a chain of some good results here. Really going to start his lap soon. See if he has some more promise to show us here. He might have let someone by. Yep, he's let some drivers by. Let's see. It's a Ferrari looking like. Ferrari of Shikari will be the first one across the line, actually. We have boarded him. He's on the hards. Maybe a bit of a slower lap, but I think he believes he has the pace to make it all the way to Q3 on some harder set of tires. tire wear is very high around here, so the hards may actually be better than the medium for the long run. And if you want to make it to through Q1 and Q2, if you have some good pace. Very nice to the first sector. It's the timing line coming to the timing line at the end of this corner, I believe, onto the straight, and it is a not yet, right about now, I believe. He should be coming across the timing line sometime soon. Or maybe it just missed the timing line, but no idea what sector times he's running right now. But coming to the chicane now. Decent line through, a bit narrow into the second part, but I think you actually do go a bit deep for that chicane. It is a little bit beneficial to go deep in the first part and then really just hook it back onto the right, but I don't know, some people choose different lines and hook it late, some people go really early and kind of compromise their exit. And there's a yellow in sector 1. I believe that maybe just be a Red Bull going slowly, it looks like. Let's see, no, it's in the pits. A bit weird. Oh, Shikari's invalidated. Turned out maybe 3 seconds I moved the screen. Shikari hasn't validated, so he will have to go again, which is not good, because as I said, the tire wear is very high around here. You don't want to be doing more than 1 lap, especially if you have to make it through on these tires through both qualifying sessions. But he has charged a battery. He might not have been pushing to send. Under the line should be Veli. Under the line now to set a 31.7. That from him. I believe pull in X and A was a 29.5 set by exits hits the spot, so running about say a second and 8/10 away from the potential X1 pull coming on later today. Jumping into someone else on a lap. Next across the line, looking like a Red Bull. It might be Fritzy or Windex. Windex is on an out lap. Behind him is a Ferrari. Let's check if it is. Oh, not Irons. I don't see him. Oh, there he is. Irons has not on a lap. He's letting people by. The Ferrari Shikari behind him is on a lap. He's on board him to sector 3. See how he gets it done. He can get it done without validating. Not using too much battery. Gonna be the quickest lap from him. Pumping the brakes a little bit. They might ruin his front, give us a big might wide there. Maybe a result of pumping the brakes there. Takes it down on the left. It's very hard to get that apex right. Maybe they might go a bit too wide. It's not from the gangster speed. This left very long, kind of easy to miss the apex there since it just keeps tightening and tightening as you go. To the right, good exit. Hard to on the hard tire, and might be a little bit worse than you would expect on the crashing out. But coming to the line now, it's 32.9. That puts him P3 by over a second. That might not be good enough, but then again, he was not using all of his battery throughout the lap, so he probably has more to show us. Coming to the line now, it's his teammate of Irons coming to the line. He's not on a lap either yet, not starting a lap. The Mercedes of Zola should be on a lap now. Yep, just starting his. And more for sector 1. Nicely done for the first part. On the second part of sector 1, this is a very technical section. Goes into 8th. I might give him a bit of understeer, getting all his downshifts done. Do that long right, a bit difficult on downshifts. He does slide the rear, but he gets through just fine. Coming to the sector line now. Do not know what sector that was, but it's showing purple on my graphic screen. You can never trust EA though. Down the back straight. Depending on setup, he might be running a little bit higher setup. It might be a time trial setup, but France does have a lot of straights, so a lot of drivers do tend to run a little bit low on wings. Get that speed down the straight for overtaking. Especially if you're starting further back, you don't have the absolute pace around here. This is looking like a handy lap from Zola. Just needs to get it through the final sector without invalidating. On the mediums, won't be the fastest of times, I believe, but the sector, he did have a purple sector 1, so he's showing some pace. Maybe a big surprise, maybe. Zola being the Packer, he hasn't led any of the qualifying sessions yet throughout the season. But does he have it here? Needs to beat a 31.3 from low. Coming to the line now, and it is a 32.0. So 3/10 off of P2 and Veli. On the medium, so that is some really good, some really strong pace. Maybe the delta between the softs of low and the mediums of solo there. Next to cross the lines, looking like a Haas of Boothie, perhaps. That's an outlap. He's crossing the line now. There's another Haas of Harry, who is not on a lap. And there's a Ferrari of Irons, maybe, I believe. Irons going to come to the line soon, not in a lap either. A lot of people just taking it slow here. Maybe they set their laps already. Irons at 2:24, but of course, there's only 14 people right now in the session. So he'll make it through no matter what. Iron retires in the pit lane. Next across the line, the Red Bull is in the pit as well. Across the line after him, Fritzy on the lap but invalidated. He probably will just box and retire like the rest. Looking like we're coming towards the end of Q1. Everyone will make it through. There's only 14 people in session. Looking like we have a packed grid for X1 though. Everyone's reserved a slot. All 20 seats might be filled. Of course, it's coming later on at 3 o'clock EST and 8 p.m. BST. Tune in then. You'll be hosted by Zola and J-Lab, I believe. He's not in the race right now, but I believe he'll be back for comms, unless I'm mistaken. Veli retires in pit lane as well. We're going to come towards the end of Q1 here. Herbie going to set his lap and then retire as well, most likely. Very slowly on turn 1 there. Might invalidate. He has invalidated. He'll have to go again and really wreck those softs again. He's lucky we won't get eliminated no matter what. Only 14 people in here, but you really only want to do one lap on dry tires here because the tire wear is way too high for more than that. Jump on board a Boothie now for his lap. Mediums. A lot of people choosing the harder compound here. I believe softs is actually the minority tire here for Q1. Actually, the hards are the minority tire, but mediums is the majority tire here. Softs, only 6 people running that, and 6 people running mediums. Oh, they're balanced. So, equal in mediums and softs. A lot of differing opinions here. And I received word that it'll just be Zola today, so double solo commentary. It's looking like for X1 and X2. So J-Lab is out. He has a cold. Wish him the best. Feeling dead in bed, he says. A bit unfortunate for him. I believe his daughter came up with something too. Just struggling in the household. Okay, wish him the best. We're coming to line now back towards the F1 stuff. And two happenings. Come to line now, but he's invalidated as well. A lot of people invalidate. You don't need to be pushing yet. Nobody will be eliminated. Just set a slow time like Irons, a 2:24. Like Spawn in GT3. And it's good enough no matter what. You won't get eliminated. As Herbie is now on his lap, so we can get through this time without invalidating. Of course, France, you do have to play the track limits here. They're not coded the best. You run over the line a little bit, and sometimes it doesn't invalidate you. But it's better just to play it safe when you're in Q1. There's no need to be pushing the limits. Purple sector 1 for Herbie might just be a visual bug. It's not giving me the sector times in the top right either. I do not know who is going fast and who is not. Just need to wait till the end of the lap. Coming to the chicane now. He doesn't use a curve. Doesn't look like a little bit squirrely on the exit of the first part, and hooks it right. Well enough. Gets a good exit. He's coming up to the Haas ahead of him. Hopefully doesn't get in the way a little bit much. He looks like he's going to push for his lap now. That would be Boothie, who invalidated as well. Catching the back of him a little bit is Herbie. So just say he's going a bit quicker than the Haas. Have a quicker time than him. Looking like a handy lap though, handy banker. Nicely done to the third sector, hooks it right for that long hairpin for the main straight exit. Good exit to the line now, and it is looking like a 31-0. That's your fastest lap of Q1. It looks like it will stay your fastest lap of Q1 just by the amount of people that's retired. So well done, Herbie. 31-0, nearly in the 30s. I believe we'll get to a mid-30 by the end of the session, end of Q3. Maybe mid-30, low 30. If we see anyone in the 29s, that is probably X1 pace, but you never know, might throw a surprise. Wayne is the defending X2 champion. Irons has not even set a competitive lap yet, so our main qualifiers aren't really showing their hand yet, showing their cards. We'll go to Boothie now. The last one to set a lap looking like other than Flavor, who has just come to the line now. Alright, through the chicane, he's blinking, he's harvesting again. He's not setting a competitive time, it looks like. Yep, 11 seconds down on his outlap time in the top right. Finally when the timing's up. Oh, he's already set his lap. I'm a bit blind, but Boothie has already set his lap. He's boxing, actually. And that is looking like your end of Q1. It doesn't look like anyone's going to bother to go out again. Everyone just come to the box and retire. So it's looking like Herbie on P1, no promise from him, and Low in P2. That is a surprise. I haven't seen him in the top 5 in any quali at all yet, I don't think. But so pleasant surprise at that. A fellow Canadian driver. I'll always root for him. Some potential big points on the board here for Low. Surprise and Shikari, even though he's on the hards, he's ways out of the top 10. You expect a little bit more pace from the person sitting the runner-up in the champions and the drivers champions championship right now, drivers championship. We'll expect a little bit more, but it's looking like your average Q1. Not much surprise, not much disappointment. Just a standard set your banker lap and get your retirements done. Wait for Q2, everyone else to box and retire, and then we can get Q2 underway. And there it is. Q1 is over. There was a small gap between P2 and P3 there. It might be a bit exciting later on, but Irons set a lap. As I said, he's our main qualifier. 53 seconds off the pace. Absolutely disappointing, Irons. Come on. But Herbie leads away with a 31-0. Low in P2 with a 31-3. But Boothie on the mediums is only, looks like, 38 hundredths away from P2, which is low. It's going to be a lot of shaking up of this order coming through the Q2 and Q3 sessions now. But for now, they can hold on to that promise. The people at the top, that maybe they do have the pace for a good result here. And we got Q2 underway now, waiting for some drivers to get out on the track as I get all the telemetry stuff up and going. Looks like Herbie's going to the mediums now for Q2. It's a bit of a backward strategy now that you are on the line. Maybe there is some people that will get eliminated this session. You want to go for the softer tires, maybe this session rather, but maybe yes, he knows something we don't. A lot of drivers already selecting mediums. First driver looking like an Aston Martin. It is Veli. Yep, Veli coming out of the pits first. Soft run for Veli. Showing some more pace here. Some bit of track evo from Q1. And they've all come out within seconds of each other. I believe there's another driver, 5. There's an Alpine and a Ferrari. Yep, they're all coming out within seconds. They're all rushing out now to get their bankers in. I do not believe there's any threat of rain. If we can get a weather update, I'll check Twitch chat, see if there's any weather coming. It is a low chance, but still not a no chance of rain here at France. And I just see right there is rain on the way. 5 minutes until rain, so that explains why they're all rushing out to get the laps now. There is a threat of rain in the air. I do not know whether the intensity, but nonetheless it is rain. People rushing out to get their laps, and when it hits, it will not be as good. So it's really important they do not invalidate now. Invalidating now will probably mean the end of your qualifying when the rain hits. Coming to the start of this lap now, right on board with him at Veli. Q2 crunch time, messing up the lap now will put you in threat of being eliminated. Crunch time now, need a banker, but a fast banker. Come through turn 1 now, easy to take a little too much curve there, he gets it well, playing a bit safe, I'm not using it first curve. So final, looking like a good enough exit, up and 8 as well, and I have trouble with the downshifting. Stays in the high gear for that first right. Go to the slow for the second left. Sliding on exit there, but it's good enough still, keeps good enough speed. Exit of the long right, very difficult for tracking, lifts it onto the straight. Looking alright from Veli so far. Still not the fastest he'll ever put up, but it's good enough. Maybe good enough to get into Q3. Using the curve there, he's playing it pretty safe. He knows there's rain on the way. You can tell by the way he's driving, and he invalidates there. You can see the frustration in the wheel. He knows it's crunch time. If you mess up now, you're really in the threat of being eliminated. Jumping on board with the driver behind him. Your Gemini on the mediums is not invalidated yet. Just needs that clean lap to not get caught out by the rain, because invalidating rate is really just a death sentence by the looks of it. Maybe in high intensity rain coming. Seeing that frustration from Veli there. Through the long right, start of sector 3. Need a good exit here. It's really difficult to hook your car left there. Got to turn in really late, but start turning in very early. Through this left, a bit easy, but yep, a bit easy to miss the apex there. As I was saying, Q1, she does just that, but it's good enough. Perhaps he needs looking at maybe a mid 31, low 31 here. To see her through to Q3, and it is a 32 and 33 even. That might not be good enough. As low as a 31-2, we're already into the low 31s in the soft runners. Very handy lap from her teammate there, over a second clear of Hero Gemini. Behind will be the Ferraris of Irons and Picard across the line next. Picard crosses the line with a 31-2, a couple hundredths away from low. Irons crossing the line now, a qualifier 31-5. 3-10 across his teammate there. Next across the line will be the McLaren of Flavor. Come to the line now at lap, setting his lap. And there is a half of Beefy, I believe, come to the line now on the lap. He's invalidated. Another invalidated. Come to the line next will be Zola, and his Mercedes has not invalidated on his lap, and he goes Q3 with a 31-5. You need to be in a mid 31, low 31 to see yourself through the Q3 here, it would seem. Next across the line is the Red Bull of Fritzy. And then the Windex, and then Windex, the Red Bull pair, next across the line. flip C sets a high 31, maybe seeing through, but a bit dangerous. The next setting is out. Next off the line is the Aston Valley, who's on the secondary lap. No battery at all, just trying to hopefully squeak through before the rain comes through to really just put the drivers into their coffins. The drivers have not set their laps yet, none is validated. Everyone rushing out to get their laps done. Maybe some traffic in the way of others, some yellows in sector 3 as well. People struggling to get out of the way. And Valley went P2. What a lap from him with no battery. Next to the line is the Williams, but they are the ones that set their laps. They're boxing. Next to the line on the laps will be Contigate, I believe, who has been validated as well. From behind them, the Ferrari of Irons, who has already set his lap, and he is going to box. And then the McLaren of Flavor to the line next. Has non-validated on his lap. He's pushing towards the line. He's looking for a mid-31 here to make himself through the Q3. Come to the line now, and it's the fastest time. What a time in Flavor. I haven't seen him show up this entire season. Where's that come from, mate? Brilliant time from him. Next to the line was the Haas of Boothby, went P7. His teammate Harry should be on a lap now. Starting his lap now. We're on out lap. He just come out the pits. And I believe that's rush hour done for the Q2 laps. Everyone else on out laps in the pits. Again, the lap start. Windex on the line now to finish out his lap. And his teammate Fritzy has already set his. Windex the line now at 31.9. Not good enough. He really bumped out. Harry on his out lap. Herbie on his lap now and has invalidated again. Herbie's having a nightmare here. Q2 and Q1 is having a nightmare in Q2 here. That is rush hour done for Q2, waiting for everyone else. Needs to set their lap for the rain comes. You can see the clouds looming now, starting to gather up overhead of your screen. It's gonna get very hectic here. I believe it was already very hectic. I don't know if it'll get any more calm than that was. You're taking his time here on his out lap. Whether to preserve tires, maybe burn fuel or something, you won't know, but maybe he has a strategy. Every driver has their strategies and ways they like to drive. So we won't question him too much. And here Gemini is back out on a lap, which is a good idea. 30-3 is not good enough. You will get bumped out with a time like that. Looking at a mid-31 to low 31. Very tight field here tonight. The entire top four are in the 31-2s, except for Flavor, who banged out 31-0 from who knows where. The time from him, absolutely brilliant. Nearly in the 30s, which is nearing X1 pace. I don't know how tight X1 will be, but judging by previous experiences, it won't be the tightest grid out there. Goofy on his lap now, going for a higher and lower 31, but his teammate Harry not set a time yet on his lap now. Running on board with him. Return 1-2 complex, he does it just fine. So the exit out onto the second straight now, to the merry-go-round, as I call it. A long left into a long right, and then the longer right after that. Very difficult on traction here. Gets it onto the blue line, looks good. Like a de facto curb, and onto the back straight, good enough. I do not see a purple sector, but he's looking for a low 31, doesn't need to be purple. Come to a chicane now, uses a curve, a little bit off, but then he goes a bit deep into the second part of the chicane. It's going to compromise his exit, coming down to secondary back straight now. That's a purple sector 2 at the time of show, 50.9. I do not know if that's a visual bug, but he has not set a time yet. Don't know whether that's an improvement or not. It was Q1 time through sector 3 now, the first part. Very difficult on exit there with all the bumps and the camber to get the power down through this long left. Difficult to turn in for. He gets it done without invalidating though. That's the key part here. You go invalidate. Invalidating this point will mean you get hit by the rain. He goes a bit wide for the last pit. And then the hairpin onto the main straight now. That's a decent run. I don't know. He's aiming for a low 31. Will it be what he needs? And he goes a 31-2. He gets it done in the P4. Good lap from Harry there. On board with the defending X2 champ, only P6 for now. And next across the line, it's looking like Constant Jet. All three of the lap setters are running very close, it looks like. Constant Jet coming to the line now, hasn't validated, looking for a low 31. Oh, and he's very squirrely on the exit there. That'll really hurt his exit. You lose about a tenth or two running to the line now. And it's not good enough. It is only a 33-0. And Hero Gemini only in the 32s. Not good enough either. Zola goes into the 30s. What a lap from him. We are really seeing some crunching times here. Maybe a mid-30 by the end of Q3. Even a 29 maybe. That would be ridiculous. But some really just pacey drivers that I wasn't expecting. In Low, Flavor, and Zola. I wasn't expecting them to be your top three, but hey, look at us now. Some good laps from them. Herbie maybe on his lap now after he invalidated twice, and he is. I do not know if he's boxed or not yet. That may be some old softs as well. Very tight field. A 31 is required to see yourself through, and even a mid-30, and maybe a 31.5 at that by the end of Q2. The rain is running a bit late and might not hit at all this session, but a wet Q3 is possible by the reports I've received. Herbie just needs to get to the sector through without invalidating, but he needs that bit of speed as well in order to see himself through to Q3. He showed all that pace in Q1, only to invalidate twice here. He needs to get it done. He has the pace, just needs to get that banker in to see himself through. Shouldn't be pushing too hard through the final bit of Sector 3 now. It's looking alright. He gets it nice and tight onto that apex. Whipping it through the final hairpin onto the main straight. Uses a bit of curb. You get a bit of wheel spin on that curb, but it's good enough. It's fine, and it is looking like a 31.6, a bit on the edge. Might not be good enough. Only P9 on the bubble there. And drivers behind him are on a lap. Fritzy and Boothie on their laps now, or out laps now. Going to be setting one more lap perhaps to maybe displace Herbie there. Zola has already retired, feeling confident with his time. Why would he not be? He's the only driver in the 30s so far. Showed pace throughout both qualifying sessions so far. He's looking like one of the front runners here. Harry retires as well, feeling confident with his 31.2. Very tight field here. Only two drivers in the session are outside of the 31s. Well, three counting Zola, but I'm talking about behind, like slower than the 31s. But so a lot of people retiring now, feeling confident and comfortable with their laps. Anyone else on their laps outside of the top 10? No, do not believe. Here, Gemini and Constant Jet, I don't think they'll be getting out. They won't make it round again, so they are out. Here, Gemini retires, knowing her fate. But Fritzy and Windex going to try, both Red Bull pairs, going to try to make it through to Q3. Fritzy starts his lap now. Last thing you need is to invalidate, but then again, you need that pace to make it through. A bit wide through there. The compromised exit, you lose about a tenth missing that first apex. Tenth, maybe two, depending on how slow that exit was. Coming through the technical bit of the lap now. It's looking good enough. No squirrels. He's down on his time by 400th, so needs a bit of a pickup here at the Q2 Sector 2. Needs to pick up the pace, put his foot down a bit more. He needs around 2 thousandths of a second to see himself through the Q3. That's how tight the gaps are here. Coming through the chicane now, very good exit. That'll gain some time compared to his last lap if he went a bit deep, and he is 2/10 down. It's looking a bit ominous for Fritzy here. It's not looking too good. See if his teammate can bring one of the Red Bulls even outside of the bottom 4. Caution Sector 1, and it's looking like an Alfa Romeo has spun, and that would be Wayne, I believe. And it was Wayne. Wayne spun it somewhere in the beginning of Sector 1, but we're going to run right on board with Fritzy again, back to him. See if he picked up any time. He invalidates on the final part of the lap, and he is going to be sorely disappointed about that. Would not have been a good enough time to see him through, but He'll be sorely disappointed. All he needed was 2,000ths, and he could not find it. But he's running on board with his teammate Windex now. See if he can bring himself into the top 10, bring one of the Red Bulls out of the drop zone at least. Of course, we've had at least one cursed team, it would seem like, throughout all of our races so far in X2. It's a Red Bull's turn to be affected by the curse. Who knows? Windex trying to break the possibility right now by seeing himself through to Q3. He has some traffic in front of him, though. It's Boothie on a lap, I do believe. He is on a lap as well, but he's invalidated. It might help him to get out of Windex's way. You wouldn't want a penalty for this. But coming to the final bit of Sector 3 now, maybe a bit of dirty air in his way. He'll get the tow now. Now it's beneficial that he has a Haas in front of him. Get a bit of tow behind the Haas. Give him some extra bit of straight line speed coming to the line. And he sets a 30.3. Absolutely rapid from Windex there. Nearly in the 29s. What a lap from him. Over 7/10, and he is not even provisional pole, just fastest in Q2. That will not be topped. 7/10 away from Zola. Or 6/10 away from Zola. Absolutely blistering lap time from Windex there, and he brings the Red Bull firmly out of the top 10, bottom 4 there, firmly into the top 10 now. And that will see himself through with all the retirements, and that may be your final order as the flag has dropped. So Herbie barely scrapes through there. I believe Boothie was demoted by... I do not know, actually. I'm not sure. Well, it might have been Windex. It was Windex. Windex demotes Boothie into the bottom 4 now. So that is one Haas gone. Harry carries through for the Haas team. And there is a different team for each of the bottom 4 slots. That is Alpine in dead last, though. Might be Alpine a bit cursed this weekend. Ways off the pace, about a second off of P13 ahead of him. And there's your running Windex with the 30.3, absolutely blistering lap time from him. Zola also in the 30s, but 6/10 back behind him. P1 of Windex, P2 Zola in for Mercedes, P3 Irons for Ferrari. I think he has a bit more reserve in terms of pace. He has been showing pace for all 4 of the rounds so far. Maybe he just needs to dig a bit deeper, just holding back, sandbagging a little bit. Might be the Merc's job for now, but Irons would be maybe a bit more promised flavor for the McLaren. It's a big surprise there. In the top 5 for the first time in quali, I believe. I do not think he was. I might be mistaken on that, but maybe it's just recency bias. Or recency bias clouding my head a little bit. I haven't seen him in the top 5 in a bit. Low again in the top 5. I believe he was top 5 last weekend out too. And Veli showing more promise again in the top 6 for Aston Martin. So some people who I expected to show talent at the beginning of the season showing their talents now. Very welcome surprises. As we get Q3 underway now. Crunch time, crunch time. It is not wet yet. It might not be wet at all. Might see some rush hour here again. Harry going to the mediums for lap 1. It's a bit odd or a bit strange considering it's Q3 now. You don't want to be seeing any mediums, but Herbie as well. Maybe they burned through a set of their sauce, but he goes back to the sauce too now. Might be using a scrub set, judging by his tire indecisiveness there. Maybe just trying to get a banker lap out. And rush hour has begun. Maybe rain is on the way again. See how many people pour out of the pits at first. You see some drivers hanging back a little bit. But every car but one is out on track right now, it would seem. They're very close to it. The clouds are getting very ominous. Rain does look very, very possible here. They're having a big fight up front for track position. I do not know who's leading this train. It's looking like the Williams, perhaps, of Low. Yep, Low. Leading the train around the field. Clouds looming overhead. Everyone wants to get around fast as they can before the rain hits. Harry might be a bit on the back foot choosing mediums here. Your first lap might be the best one. And by conditions, it's looking like And I get a Kevin Magnussen in Brazil 2022 here. A lot of drivers pushing on their out laps. It shows us a little bit of threatened by the potential of rain coming. None of them taking it slow at all, running very close together. Now going to build gaps for the laps. The Solo behind starts to back off the rear of Lowe, get a bit of clean air in. And Lowe will start his lap now, right up both of him. This is where it matters. Q3, range overhead. Gotta set the lap now, or if you don't get it done later. Consolidating is even more important now, not to validate when it wasn't Q2. In the fight for pole now. Gets the first part done well, and he spins, and that's Lowe, a potential top 5 out already in his lap. And Herbie has been disconnected, I believe, but Lowe had potential, and he's already spun. If the rain hits now, he'll be sorely disappointed with himself. He had some very, very good promise here. Maybe a little bit of a commentator caster's curse riding on board of him there. Made a mistake right away in the lap. And track temps might have dropped a bit. Wasn't expecting such a low grip with the clouds looming overhead. The Solo coming through the chicane now. Another one showing very good pace here. Him and Windex, who surprised us at the end, might be the battle for pole now, unless Irons has something to say about it. Our main qualifier throughout the season 9 of X2. Coming through the start of Sector 3. It's looking alright, sending it in nice and early there. Gets it done very nicely. Very good. Sector 3, it's looking like so far from Zola. He's looking at a low 30, maybe even into the 29s here for pole. Gets it down the apex, a good exit now. DRS open down the main straight, looking for a 29 or a low 30. Does he get it? And it's again a low 31. That won't be pole, as Wayne already sets a 30.5. Valley behind him 30.9. Come to the line next, it's the McLaren of Flavor, who will set a 31.2. Behind him after that is the Williams Lowe, who invalidated the Ferrari of Irons, is next across the line. Shikari boxes. Irons sets a 31.1 as well. He's lacking a bit in pace compared to the rest of the rounds. Windex will be next across the line, but he's all the way in Sector 2. This will be a bit of a gap, maybe a bit of a breather. A potential pole sitter here as well. And a Red Bull suiting for pole, just like Max Verstappen. Can he get it done? To the start of Sector 3 now. A bit wide for that apex. Maybe running a bit too fast. Coming through here now. Sent to the nice and early, very early apex. Very narrow. Might compromise his exit a bit. Might be the best of his time too soon, but will it be good enough? Looking for that low 30 again, that 30.3. We'll see him on pole, provisional pole again. And he gets the exit just fine, gets it done. DRS open, dragging all the way, all the way to the line now. Looking for that low 30 again, and he gets a 30.6, a 10th off of Wayne, who shows up finally, defending champion. Shows up finally in the dying parts of Q3. Or early parts of Q3, and next to the line on a lap will be Lowe, I believe, who might have charged his battery to go again. He has. Nope, that is Lowe. Going to be next on a lap to cross the line, potentially. As Flavor gets out of the way of him there. And the Alfa Romeo of Wayne boxes ahead of him. Coming to the line now, Lowe, potential top 5 placer. Well, can he get it done now? Getting to the top 5 again, looking for a low 30. It's a mid 31. That's not good enough. Coming to the line next on a lap is going to be Harry, the only one on a lap now. Almost boxing, get the second run done. Might get a second run in before the rain hits. See rush hour 2 potentially here. Or maybe that might be it. Coming to the start of Sector 3. What's the Sector 2 saying? I believe the Sector 1 is a bit further back, and there's a yellow flag in Sector 3 now. Looking like that Red Bull of Windex ahead of him. Might be slowing down to let him through. Doesn't want to get in the way. If he's a ban or something, he's off the track, he's out of the way. So up to Harry now to hook up his lap. Coming through the final chicane now. It's looking like a very quick time from him out of that chicane, the 24-second mark. But he get it done. He's looking for a low 30, low 31, and it's a mid 31. Was not good enough for anywhere near the top 5. Everyone, to get the top 5, you need to be hitting the 30s, low 31s now. See some crunch time later as everyone's sitting their laps now. Shikari coming through sector 1, Herbie on main straight coming to turn 1, I believe. Nope, that is the chicane on the back straight. It's looking like a good exit from him. Another one with potential pace from the end of sector 2, and it's a purple, but the visuals of 50.6. That's 3/10 better than his sector 2 or someone's sector 2 in Q2. I saw 50.9 last session. Forget who it was by. It's looking handy from Herbie here. A bit of squirming on the exit there in the start of sector 3. Through the long left, difficult exit, doesn't invalidate there. Very easy to drift a bit wide considering how much the turn tightens. Through the end of sector 3 now, only the hairpin left, needs a good exit. Rides the curb a little bit, that'll compromise him. Onto that curb as well, but a wheel spin. Not the best of exits he could have had ever, but he coming to the line now. He sets a 30.9, good enough for P4. He'll want another bite at that. He might not have the time for it. He'll have to push all the way back to the pits. Shikari, the next and last one to set a lap now. Coming to the hairpin, needs a good exit as well. Not set a lap yet. P2 in the championship. Needs that run to the line, and he sets a 31.2. Not good enough either. P7, a bit of a nightmare for the Ferraris right now in qualifying, considering their prestige in the X2 grid, on the X2 grid right now. They're highly regarded as top 4 drivers, down in P6 and 7 right now. Next to cross the line on a lap, looking like Veli perhaps. Veli, yep, will be Veli to cross the line next on a lap. Behind him is the Mercedes of Zola, who is also on a lap. Might get a bit of dirty air from Veli here. Won't be needing that, but he'll also be picking up the toe for these straights. Maybe a bit of a sniff of a toe. He's running just about out of the dirty air ranges. Let's check if Zola is on a lap as well. He is. Both drivers pushing. None needing the bend for the other. The rain has started to hit at the worst timing possible. All your laps count now. You need to get everyone on the lap now is going to set their laps, and that will be the end of it. Nobody will improve after that. Everyone needs to get their lap in now. Maybe even a bit hampered right now. Veli, he might be feeling a bit of the sliding from the rain now. Coming through the final hairpin. Is it good enough? It's not looking like a very good exit as Zola boxes to the line now. Veli only at 31.2. No one is going to improve with this rain now. Windex on an outlap will not improve. The rain has hit. It's a bit unfortunate for him. He invalidated on that lap. And that was an outlap though. Coming to the line now to start his lap. It's not going to be anywhere near what he needs with this water on the track now. That is looking like the end of Q3. Polls decided before I even knew it, as the rain hits just in the dying seconds here, dying minutes now. I'd be surprised to see anywhere near purple for Windex here. See if we can improve, see if the track is still, maybe has some hope for him. Going down to sector 1, and he is down by 0.8. The track is too wet. That is the end of Q3. Nobody will improve. What a disappointment for Lowe and the Ferrari pairing, but what a comeback for the X2 rating champion on pole in his first race back into the X2 series. Take a bow. It's like he never left. Windex a surprise in P2 and Veli P3 now. That's a very shaken up top 3 now. Was not expecting that. Windex will not improve. Down by 1.5 seconds. That is Q3 done. Man, and I would say anticlimactic, but look at that top 3, even the top 5. Zola in P5 now. Herbie P4. He's shown pace throughout the season. I think he would have been hoping for a bit more in that lap that he had, but that top 3 is absolutely crazy. And Windex boxes, he knows he won't improve. Nobody will improve. Everyone coming back to box now. Just Veli and Windex left. That is the end of Q3. Man, What a surprise. And there it is, pole position, Wayne OS 316. The rating X2 champion on pole, where he's probably familiar with. I wasn't here for last season. I don't know whether he was a qualifier or not, but he'll be used to the P1 sites. Windex only 500ths behind him, and P2 in the Red Bull. Surprise from him. He hasn't shown any top 5 pace at all in qualifying throughout any of the rounds, and all of a sudden bangs on the front row. Big surprise from him. Veli, we saw some pace from him in Bahrain at the start before the crash. No, that was the exhibition in Baku, I believe, where you saw some purple sections and pace from before he crashed. So, top 3, maybe feeling like that's where he should have been. Getting that lap done now. But surprise for the season, he hasn't been in the top 5 yet. I think he's had 2 quali bends as well. He'll be very pleased with that. And that is the big surprises of Q3. So we go on to our break here, let everyone select their strategies, select their fuel loads and stuff. We'll get going around 12:56 my time, I believe. It's probably around 5:56 UBST as I check the start time at 57. So 6 minutes till start. Get your snacks, go use the washroom. I mean, maybe not the most exciting races of promise here at France, but you never know. It might be an absolute sleeper here, an absolute banger, pocket banger. Alright, 1 minute till we go. Everyone's had some time to get their snacks and use the washroom before we get started. Hopefully looking for a good race here. Last weekend was a bit of a sleeper. Might need a bit of a something to reignite the passion for X2 here. The drive to show us what it's really all about, what X2 can really deliver for. Formation lap is on. We'll get formation lap underway in about a minute or so here. There we go. Formation lap is on. The drivers will set off the formation lap soon. Let's check a look at the tire strategies. Let's go. Which one is it? It's this one. There we go. Tire strategies. A little bit of a mix. 2 on the hards. Everybody except Fritzy and Herbie on the mediums, apart from Wayne and Harry on the hards. Medium's looking like the majority choice here, the strongest. But Wayne has something cooking a different pole position, not looking to pull away necessarily from the grid behind him, starting on the hards. A different strategy. I've received word it will be a completely dry race. Not looking for any rain here. Just a straight shot, plate strategy, a bit of overtake until the end. It's a bit cloudy overhead though. What the chances are. We've got a lot of fast drivers behind, maybe looking to cut their way through the field. You want to bide your time here, of course. You want to do something stupid and ruin your race and just end your race before it even really gets underway. Play it safe in lap 1. Formation lap. I do believe the hards go around 15, 16 laps here maximum before they feel unusable whatsoever. The mediums go around 11 to 12 before they feel unusable. You might stretch around lap 13, 14 with the safety car. The softs are only good for around 6 laps here. Anything more than that, they start to slide like butter on a hot knife. Doesn't work at all as a race tire here. The softs only good for qualifying. Coming back to the start line now. Get the race underway here. In a second, everyone's going to form out and get their tire warming, planning, and programming right now. Start here is on the inside. Pole position on the inside of turn 1. And Herbie gets disqualified, ran a bit too deep into his grid box. Unfortunate for him. So does Low and Flavor. Be very careful with the grid box here. I won't start too far back, and Veli does as well. A lot of drivers getting disqualified, running a bit too deep. We're going to wait a second. It's red lights on, and I do not know. I do not think the red lights are on yet, actually. Pardon me. And board red lights are not on yet. Waiting for the there we go. 1 red light, 2 red light, 3 red light, 4 red lights, and 5 on now, and away they go. Herbie, good launch from Wayne on the hard there. Windex already getting swallowed up by Veli in the mediums. They're 3 wide into turn 1. Very dangerous behind. If someone does back out of it, there's a Windex back out of it. Down to P4. Behind any mess. There's no mess behind. They've all made it through cleanly. And there we go. The first yellow flag. And that's looking like a Ferrari and a Mercedes suspended. Zola and Irons already spun. Two very fast contenders here, already out of the running for the win here. Everyone else making it through just fine. Position changes. Lowe's already up to P6. Flying start from him. Windex is down to P4. Some position changes further back with Hero Gemini and Constant Jet. Constant Jet maybe getting a bit squirrely. Up to P12 now, though, with Zola and Irons having a bit of a disaster there. It's running very close together. It's looking like Windex is looking to make a move on Veli here. Herbie, Veli, and Windex getting very close together. The slipstream. Herbie's out of the slipstream with Wayne ahead and looking down the inside of Windex now as Veli got a clean safe and Veli giving the room. Windex trying to go narrow onto the apex, does not get the exit he needs, so to stick beside Veli. Has to tuck in behind him again. As everything relaxes now. A little bit of a mess in the lap one of the cleaner ones we've seen so far. As behind, somebody spun. It's looking like Fritzy. Fritzy spun on those softs. That's the last thing he wanted on those tires. You need to make your positions while you can on the softs. They will fall off very quickly. And Wayne sets fastest lap out in front. So everyone forms up in a slipstream train now. DRS gets enabled next lap, I believe. Not a DRS train just yet. Some time to pull away, build your gaps. Entire top 7 or 8 in a DRS train. Entire top 7 in a DRS train right now. Boothie, the Hasper, Boothie, and Harry running very close together, might work together to pull themselves back into this DRS train, or potential DRS train that will form next lap. Further ahead, it's looking like Veli on Herbie might be a thing here soon. Veli just bides the time, not a long braking zone, just chicane. Herbie went a bit wide. Veli will get him on exit here if he nails it down, but Herbie has those softs to bail him out even though he went deep. Veli just waiting, biding his time. He knows those softs will die off very, very quickly. Wayne does not have the pace to pull away as hard compared to Herbie's softs. Herbie's pulling back very quickly. Herbie needs to get that move done before his tires fall off too. He might be a bit aggressive, and Wayne needs to watch out for that. This sector 3, this is where it'll hurt Wayne the most, that harder tire compound, but he's doing a fine enough job. Keep that gap just outside of the heavy slipstream range was looking more effective, and Herbie goes a bit wide there. Veli taking a look around the inside, around the outside of the hairpin, has to back into the train behind Herbie, looking to the outside of him now, all over the back of him now. Veli getting a bit frustrated sitting behind the wing of that Alpha Tauri there, wanting to make this move, but not close enough yet, and Herbie pushing Wayne through the first turn now. Really pushing, really getting his foot down to try and get past this Alfa Romeo, put himself out of the threat of the Aston Martin behind. Wayne doing a good enough job just defending and holding this position though. Herbie not using too much battery either, just sitting behind. DRS is enabled. We got that by the DRS now with a good exit, but the gap slips out to 8 tenths. That DRS will not be enough to get him by the Alfa Romeo here, but look at the overspeed. Already closed by 4 tenths, 2 tenths now, not good enough there. And further behind we have Harry on his teammate Boothie as coming to the chicane, gets it down the straight with DRS. They're trying to DRS their way back into this fight. Going to a massive DRS train formed up now. From P1 to P7, a massive DRS train formed up. Everyone just waiting for someone to make a mistake and pounce on it like hyenas. Very, very crucial you keep yourself consistent in a train this big. One mistake like that from behind the Ferrari Shikari will put you under threat already from low, already riding the back wing, even just going wide even that little bit, already thrown to the piranhas behind. And Veli basically pushing Herbie through this third sector now. Herbie struggling in this third sector, maybe with some tire temp issues, already burning through his tires. As Veli's still looking to make this move, and it's looking like he's going to try here, both using battery I believe. Herbie is already drained his battery, trying to keep away from the clutches of Veli. Wayne cannot break that DRS, he is still leading the DRS train to leader. On the hards, he needs just a little bit more pace just to break that DRS from Herbie behind. Veli is pushing Herbie along the track right now. But he has that DRS from Wayne, not anymore. Those gaps slipped out to 1.5 seconds. Veli will have that overspeed on Herbie without his DRS. He'll get it done. The chicane, he pulls out to the inside. Veli, can he get it done on the brakes? It's looking like he will, and he does. And they made contact. Windex is also into the mix there, getting a bit too close to comfort. Off the track, they're going to follow to the cars behind. Just like the sharks waiting in the waters, and they're getting swallowed up already, going 3 wide into this right-hander now. Don't want to get a bit too close to comfort, and they well made it through fine. But wow, just shows you how big the consequences are for such a tiny mistake, just a little bit of wheel banging. And Windex is all the way down to P6 now, at the very end of this train. Low up to P4, making moves, capitalizing on all the chaos. And Veli is still just pushing Herbie through the corners. Herbie's sauce already falling off before we even reach lap 5 here. No ERS to help him, no DRS to help him either. Veli getting squirrely. That'll put him onto the back foot and into the clutches of Low. Now Veli also blinking on ERS. Low is in a prime position here. Low is in such a good position here. Really saved his ERS, saved enough ERS to be able to get by the both of them if they fight hard enough. And going defensive now is Herbie, and he spun. Veli and Herbie made contact, spun, and that's Low. He barely escaped without damage, but that little bit of holdup will put him under threat from the Ferrari and Red Bull behind, who are going wheel bang all throughout the first sector, side by side through that long right. Brilliant fighting there, not to get in each other's way, cause a big accident like Veli and Herbie just in. Veli's all the way down to P13. This is absolute chaos here at the opening 5. He saw Veli getting a bit frustrated, sitting behind Herbie there. He might have timed his move a bit too poorly there, as Low gets by Herbie cleanly, and Herbie looks like he's been tapped from behind a little bit, gets a bit loose. Behind him, further back, is still Shikari ahead of Windex. Windex trying to come back through the field, as Low is going to set after Wayne now on the softer tire compound. Will he get it done? Does he have the pace to get it done? Herbie just really falling towards the clutches of the back end of the DRS trade now. Softs are falling off. Not a good race tire here. He'll take note for next time. He'll need a safety car to bail him out for this race though. Looking a little bit dreadful for him, as he's just slipping further and further back away now, at about a 10th per sector now. Herbie slipping away from Low, but he has that DRS to bring him back now. Can he get the move done? He pulls to the inside to have a look. He goes deep on the brakes. He tags Low around, and he gets a bit aggressive. He tagged Low at the back. The quarter panel, Low and Herbie have both spun, and that is Low all the way down to the latter stages of the top 10 now as he gets going. Herbie a bit too aggressive on the brakes there. It looked like got onto the side of Low. We will see that in the incident report though, as now it is Shikari in P2. And we've had a change for P2 every lap, I believe, apart from the first 3. Now Shikari heads this DRS train. Wayne is sitting pretty, and Windex is spun. Windex has spun it now in front of Flavor, and now the Hasses are in 3-4. They're brought into the mix now. What is happening to this top 5 now? All the drivers at pace are massacring themselves. They're all of the drivers in the top 5, apart from Shikari, I believe, has had a spin of some sort. And Irons is back in the P5 after that massive contact with Zola. Everything's changing so fast here. Nothing can stable out. Nothing can just get a groove going. Everyone's just running into the back of each other and spitting. No one is relaxing. This is why aggression can be a bit detrimental sometimes, especially so early in the race when your car is heavy. You don't have the grip you think you do. Everyone just needs to relax a bit, but we've had a change of some sort of position in the top 5 every lap so far as soon as DRS was enabled. Everyone just needs to relax a bit and find their groove, but man, this is good entertainment. We've had some really good racing so far. This needs to be a bit cleaner. We'll be in for a good race here. Good turn, an upturn from Baku last week, Baku, that was Baku. So now it is Flavor on the back of Gemini, and Windex gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Low running behind Flavor, another DRS train forming for P7 here. Then Shikari has caught Wayne by a massive amount. Flavor looking to the outside of Gemini on the backstrap. Will have the DRS. Gemini won't be able to fight it as her teammate follows him through. And Low pulls to the inside, going to make the move into the chicane as well. Looking for it, he gets it down the apex and gets a double move on that straight. Well done from Low on setting after Windex now, who he had that contact with Herbie actually. Pardon me, he had that contact with Herbie. Already seen Herbie off into P11, and Low is climbing back to this field rapidly, not wasting any time. Low on battery though, might not have the strength down the straight. Needs to build a good enough gap to the sector 3 to not be under threat from Flavor behind. As Windex is looking like he's on the back of Irons, going to look for a move potentially here. Coming through sector 3 now. We'll have the DRS. That turn 1 though. Bad memories of it, I believe. Not the chicane he spun out. There's been a lot of chaos happening, getting the incidents mixed up now. With the DRS now, he's a bit too far for a move, it would seem. Low still under pressure from Flavor. Does not have the battery to fight him, but he has a good enough gap to keep him out of the move ranges, which is below the 5/10 mark, I believe. But under threat now, as he has to go to defensive into this fast right, but Flavor backs out of it, doing the smart thing to really be fighting that hard. Don't want to make a mistake, as we've seen a plethora of so far. Further up, the gaps are stabilizing now. Everyone finally finding the rhythm and the groove. Shikari about to break the DRS of Wayne, or break into the DRS of Wayne. Harry following shortly behind on the DRS train as Zola, or no, its Flavor gets by Low. Low does not have the battle to fight him with the DRS 2. Still Windex on Irons, just ahead of them. Windex can't find a way through on Irons yet. Everything just kind of stabilized, a lot of DRS happenings, no real big overtakes yet. And Harry has broken into the DRS of Shikari, and he's brought his teammate with him that has to be pouncing on that Ferrari soon. Shikari will need that DRS of Wayne if he wants to defend from them, but Wayne does look like he's got his foot down a bit more now, pulling the gap back to a 1.5 seconds. Nothing happening yet. Further up, Windex is still too far to make a move on Irons, and this is looking like the closest battle now. Flavor on Low. Can he get it done? Low just needs to stick with him here. Maybe he wants to battle a tire where it would seem like I don't believe either have enough battery to pull away from the other. Oh, and the position change up ahead. It's Shikari on Harry. Or Harry on Shikari. Harry gets by on the hards. Shikari's mediums are falling off. The hards are coming back into play now later into the late stages of the lap 9. Shikari just about sticking to the back of Harry here with the slipstream. I don't know if he'll have the tire grip for it through sector 3 though. He's blinking already. Harry's at advantage battery here. He'll be setting after Wayne as well. And his teammate now gets brought into the mix. And Boothy's into the mix now. And Boothy gets a time penalty, speaking of him, for track limits as well. We see the notorious track limits at France coming into play now. Track limits are very important to avoid those here. Very easy. And Boothy gets very squirrely, just about avoids the wall. Gets it under control. A bit too heavy with his foot there. Good car control from him as Shikari backs out of it, now looking for movement to turn 1. Breaks it on not long enough as Herbie boxes off those softs. 8 laps. He's seen a fair share of a nightmare here. As these three just fighting up ahead. Maybe Harry will bring it back to Wayne, bring them back to him. Maybe going to try and get his teammate by Shikari, the Ferrari Shikari here. Might try and break the DRS, maybe back him up into him. We'll see what he plans here to get his teammate into the mix. No big battles happening just yet. Zola on Hero Gemini is about to take place, I believe. And it's looking like with the DRS, Zola might get it done, and he does very comfortably. Before they even get to the braking zone, he's a full car's width ahead. No pressure on him there. Shikari's got back past Harry with the DRS on that straight as well. Swapping places, trying to carry each other through to P1, but they are losing time. They're getting it done into the braking zones. That is giving Wayne another buffer just to pull away. They're not doing enough to catch P1 here. Wayne's having a nice Sunday drive right now. Hasn't seen too much battling since lap 1. Shikari still ahead, and it's looking like Harry might got a bit squirrely, put him under threat from his teammate now. This is, yep, he's falling a second, and his teammate, he swaps position with his teammate now. Boothie's gotten ahead of Harry on the mediums, just maybe a bit of team orders there. On the mediums, Harry's going to try, Boothie's going to try and stretch after Shikari on the better tires. He'll be stretched away from him. Shikari is still blinking. Nobody with much ERS to play with. Is further ahead. Irons on Windex might be a thing here. This DRS train's been going a bit further behind. Been going for a couple laps now. Can Boothie close the gap to Shikari as well? Doesn't look so with the DRS, doesn't look powerful enough. And Irons has fallen a bit too far behind Windex as well. Further behind is Veli on here, Gemini, and a lot of penalties at once here. I believe I saw Veli and one more. I do not remember. So everything kind of stabilizes now. DRS transforming. It's going to be the next big action will be right after the pit stops. Everyone pushing on that fresh grip. Just riding on board further here. After Caboose gone. Back to the train, and Wayne. Shikari's made the move on Wayne because Wayne has gone to the pits, I believe. No, it's Shikari in the pits. A bit of a visual bug there. Shikari into the pits. And Flavor, he's dropping all the way back to P8 Shikari. Maybe even further down now. Onto the hards. A bit early, but the hards will go. They'll be a bit worn and dead by the end, but the undercut is very strong here. Will easily stretch away from Boothie if they wait too long. The Haas pair, they need to box soon to cover the threat of Shikari. So does Wayne, but coming back to the DRS trains now. Still nothing happening yet in this DRS train, but Flavor is very close to the rear wing of Irons. Does Irons have enough ERS to defend it? He does. With the DRS and ERS, everything cancels out, and Flavor does not get close enough to Irons. DRS training throughout all France here. The Tour de France and F1 cars, DRS trains, seeing the sights, not much happening. And that is the Ferrari of Irons gets past Windex. Windex made a mistake there on the chicane, and Irons gets by him on exit. So Irons gets by on exit, but Windex is looking around the outside again. He has to back out of it. Irons holds it with well, defends well. And that is Windex now into P5. Irons gets up into P4. Going to see a lot of boxers here soon. A lot of people going to the pits. Shikari has built himself a nice gap. He's in no man's land. That's what you need when you box. To set some laps of your own pace. No one to fight around you. And that is Irons that peels into the pits. And Irons has sped into the pit lane too. Very unfortunate for him. It's very easy to do that. There's a couple lines just before the actual pit line that might confuse you a bit. Veli speeds in the pit lane as well as he boxes. A lot of people picking up penalties of all sorts here. As now the DRS train is broken, you might see Flavor try and pull out of Windex here. As the boxers lose positions now, Shikari regains ahead of Irons. Regains all the positions lost when he boxed. Still more to come though when the people ahead of him box and inevitably change their tires. Wayne still biding his time on the hards. Not really feeling under threat yet. As Windex still defends against Flavor. Flavor can't get it done, even though the DRS train has been broken, but he gets squirrely on the chicane exit again, does Windex. And that'll bring Flavor right on his rear wing. Flavor having a look all around, left and right. Windex cuts through in the middle of the track, good defense here. Flavor lets him run on a little bit. Maybe Windex is just draining his ERS just to get away from him, build that slipstream gap just a tiny bit more than he does have now. He won't break DRS. And Flavor goes a bit narrow into the corner, maybe trying to put him on the back foot. Maybe scare Windex off his line a bit. The tactic, working the mental while racing, it does work sometimes. As Windex does a good enough job. Does he peel into the pits here? He does peel into the pits. Does Flavor follow him in? It does look so. Flavor follows him in. Feeling under threat from the undercut of Shikari. Does Shikari get by them in the pits? Comfortably so. Shikari will get by them by a long margin, just showing how powerful that undercut is. Not even a contest right now of how far Shikari will pull or how far he'll pull ahead of these two. He easily breaks a DRS. Not even a chance that they had with that overcut. They're running about a second behind them before. Look at the gap now. Windex on Shikari, and Irons gets by too. Just shows the power of that undercut. And the gap to Shikari from Windex is 10 seconds. Just look at the power of that undercut here. Used to be just about a second or two before the pit stops. And Harry, Boothie, and Wayne, if I were them, I'd be feeling very threatened by that right now. That undercut is oh so powerful here. Further back, it's still Flavor on Windex and the DRS train. It's Herbie and Lowe are now into the mix now in this train. Warming up again. Shikari, by pit stop gap, does look like your net race leader for now, but Wayne, does he have the pace to pull it back on fresh mediums? I'll assume he'll pit too. Boothie's going to be heavy on the back foot, still out on those mediums. I don't know if he's aware of just how far back he's going to fall, having to put off those mediums now. A lot of drivers already made their pit stops. And DRS train forms again. Look up to the caboose camel's load, the back of the DRS train. They all just follow themselves through, just into the dirty air of one another through these corners, but they all gain it back on DRS. You see him scrubbing his tires there low, just trying to find some sort of grip with all the dirty air coming off of the cars ahead of him. Which the DRS so massively gain all that time using the corners back, and they all pull back together very closely. But it does look like Flavor has the advantage on Windex, with the DRS not close enough. And, oh, pardon me, Flavor spun. Flavor spun it in turn 1. As I turned on the telemetry there, turned to check my messages. And Flavor has spun it. So that's him out of the DRS train, out of the fight for the top 5. Very unfortunate for him. And that gives Windex some breathing room now. And that is Flavor's race potentially ruined without a safety car. Very unfortunate. I did not see the incident there as I was checking messages. My bad, everybody. I forgot about the ERS stuff. My fault. But yeah, Flavor has spun a potential top 5 placing for him. All out the window for him now. Gives Windex some breathing room. Shikari is really putting the hammer down on those gaps as Harry goes into the pits now. Boothie's still out on the field. No, he pits his team. They're double stacking at Haas. Questionable decision making from them too. Boothie should have put a long time ago, in my opinion, but maybe they're trying something we don't know about, something special, cooking up something special in the kitchen. It seems a bit of a strategy blunder to me, though, as Wayne still stays out on those hards. Maybe trying to overcut for the sauce, but that might be a bit of a stretch by the recent lookings of Herbie and such, as Boothie still in the pits, as collision changing the pits. Windex gets out undercut on both Hasses as well, it would look like. Nope, Harry gets out ahead in front on mediums. Boothie onto the softs. They're going very aggressive on their tire strategy. Maybe needs to at this point. But Harry manages to avoid the massive implications the undercut has had, but Irons and Shikari, look at the gaps now between Shikari and Harry, and they were running that DRS train, of course, before Shikari boxed. Harry has a lot of work to 17 seconds to pull on Irons' teammate. Gets by his teammate now in Irons, but 16 seconds to pull in 10 laps seems a bit rough for Harry. He waited a bit too long to box there. As he sets off after Shikari now, it does Harry. Oh, it's 5 seconds, my bad. It's gap to Shikari and Wayne is 17. Misread things there. Harry will have the pace advantage on Shikari, but Shikari with the tire wear too. It might peter out. It might have lost the advantage that the hards has over the mediums with the tire wear, boxing that much earlier than Harry. But Boothie on the sauce and Herbie now chasing him now, and he boxes again, and he's into the pit for a second time. Here's Boothie. Some strategy blunders here it has, I do believe. But he's into the pits again. He'll drop right to the back of the field, outside the top 10 here momentarily. But that is a strategy blunder from Haas there, as Harry's rapidly closing up to the back of Shikari now. As Wayne went into the pits now, and Wayne is on the back of Irons too. Wayne got undercut heavily by Shikari as well. Shikari is your race leader for now. New race leader. Very well done from him on the strategy. He needs to hold off Harry faster on the mediums, as well as Wayne, who will be rapid on those mediums as well. And making light work of Irons there does Harry. Not even a contest, gets it done in the straight with all that extra ERS he's been saving up. Unchallenged throughout most of this race now. Now he needs to make his way past 2 cars. Harry, who only boxed 1 lap before him, has undercut him by over a second. Just shows the power of that undercut now. Constant Jet gets a time penalty now. A bit of a dismal day for him. As further behind, Irons is still just kind of dropping back a bit of a surprise, seeing how fast he's been throughout the entire season so far. Seeing him all the way down here. As Wayne closes the gap to Harry now too. The gaps are shrinking very fast. The top 3 might catch each other all at the same time here. Like this as Harry sets the fastest lap at 33.2. Shikari is still just running away. We'll do an ERS check on him. He has been pushing like hell to keep that gap. I don't think it'll be enough. Harry behind him shortly, and then Wayne shortly after that as well. As further behind, it's looking like Herbie on Zola, very close, the closest battle. As we wait for the top 3 to catch each other. Herbie out of DRS ranges of low. It'll be a little bit easy, depending on Zola's battery here, to get by him. Way more battery, way more speed. Deploying now to get by him. He'll get it. Herbie goes defensive, however, though. Getting back to the line now. That's his last move he can make defensively, and still Zola gets it done even before the braking zone. Well done from Zola. Zola trying to recover for up ahead, back of the spin early in the race. Herbie gets another penalty for track limits, as the top 3 have caught themselves now all together at the same time, and a DRS train has formed. But Shikari will be made light work of, as his ERS is significantly lower than these 2 behind him. All he needs to do is hope that they make some sort of contact, something else that Shikari will be hoping for. They fight themselves harder than they fight him, and he can pick up the pieces. But it's looking like Harry will be making a move here soon. In turn 1, look at the overspeed. Before they even get to the braking zone, Harry is there and he's gone now. Coming through turn 1, the gap is already 7/10. Not even a contest, like Shikari wasn't moving chicane. As further behind now, Wayne is all over the back of him, and Harry will be very thankful for Shikari holding Wayne back a little bit and giving some time to break the DRS. Wayne just biding his time. Will get by him easily with his DRS-ERS assistant here now. Coming through now, it'll be no contest with Shikari on 5% battery and Wayne having more than 40. Before they even get to the 150 board, he is there and gone already. And he sets after Harry into his crosshairs now. Trying to make this a brilliant comeback drive for X2 reigning champ. As further behind, Zola on low now for the battle again. Zola just cutting his way through the field, gets by low before they got to the braking zone as well. A lot of DRS trains just really breaking up after the pit and stops. As we see Irons now in no man's land. Shikari's teammate in P4, he's just holding his own, trying to bring home the points from Ferrari, starting P7, P6. Still a good comeback drive for the Ferrari pair right now, as Wayne has shook the DRS of Shikari. It's looking like a battle between Harry and Wayne for the win here. As long as they don't make contact, it's looking quite locked in now. The gaps are all over a second now, as Lowe is still on the back of Zola. Zola's not been able to pull out that DRS gap as they come through Sector 3. Not much happening yet, as Wayne has pulled into the DRS of Harry now. Harry going as fast as he can, but Wayne with a tire advantage and a pace advantage, it would seem. He's on the back foot in terms of DRS as well. It's going to be a bit of a difficult fight for him. Just to time everything perfectly to keep Wayne behind. As Wayne pulls into the 5/10 gap, he's in move ranges. Does he decide on here not to bring his battery? Just throwing a dummy. Trying to throw Harry off the line here. Not good enough though. Harry doesn't fall for that dummy, just sticking to his line. Needs the fastest time he can to try and keep away from Wayne here. Lost too much time going defensive, that's not what he needs. As we watch Wayne setting after him to Sector 3. Look how close he gets to the rear wing, just how much more speed he's sending into the corner there. Is Wayne. No penalties between the pair either. This is a straight shot for the win. Whoever finishes ahead. No penalties to be applied just yet. Maybe a later straight penalty, but will he get the move now? Will Wayne get the move done? And he's not deploying. He thinks better of it. He won't go for it here. Still just biding his time, just waiting behind, just waiting to pounce. Maybe trying to drain a bit more of Harry's battery, maybe just timing his move perfectly so it doesn't cause contact. Never know what the drivers are thinking here, but by the way he's been driving, I can trust you, it's a good plan. We can trust him to say it's a good plan. Has come to the straight now, does he deploy his battery, and it's a safety car. As Constant just crashed, it's a late safety car that brings everyone back together. Oh, it's going to be a mad dash to the finish. It is a safety car here on lap 21, and this has spiced everything up. All the gaps now closed back down to nothing. The maybe anticlimactic finish we were expecting at France might just flip entirely on its head here, as everyone will, I assume, box for softs. It seems like the smarter thing to do. Box for softs and get their last chance at a good position here. A good finish. May make up for all the mistakes in the start of the race. Constant Jet maybe a bit frustrated, a bit of a dismal day for him. Disappointment, I'm sure, maybe a bit of frustration as well. Hasn't broken into the top 10 at all this race. Wayne stays out. Wayne stays out in his mediums while Harry boxing. I assume the rest of the field are boxing. The entire field is boxing apart from Wayne, I do believe. Everybody but Wayne. That's a very interesting strategy from Wayne there. Has he just thrown away an easy win that he's had? He's been leading the race the entire time. The entire field, except for Wayne, is boxing. The entire field. Has Wayne just pulled a strategy blunder like we saw the Haas early on? Has Haas just capitalized on a strategy blunder here at France? Wayne will drop like a rock through the back now. Just look at the pace advantage those softs have. That might just be the nail in the coffin for Wayne there. There's still a lot of laps left. It's not a hard challenge for the soft runner to get by him. Won't be too hard as Herbie goes to new mediums. Another questionable strategy here. Everybody but Wayne has been in the pits this lap. Will be an interesting strategy. Interesting to see how this will play out. Wayne might have just thrown away a really solid result on his comeback to X2. And the time will tell, though, as we're under safety car now. Everybody boxes for softs except Herbie, who boxed for new mediums. Wayne doesn't pit as we wait now for everyone to queue up again, and we can get this race going for a mad dash to the finish. Just stay tuned. It'll all kick off here in a second, I'm sure. And Wayne still stays out of the pits. Maybe thinking about there, but he's dug his grave now. So I'll work with what he has. I'll work with what he has. A lot of penalties still on the board here. He's not completely out of the runnings. He's not completely out of his mind by not boxing. He might still pick up some pieces if he has to pace in his mediums with others not boxing around him, or with others with penalties around him. Just wait for everyone to queue up now. Everything relaxes. Everyone just takes their time to breathe for a moment here before everything kicks off again. Shikari's been disconnected. He'll want to reconnect soon or very quickly. He's in a good position here. He's lucky the game hasn't retired him. You've seen that bug a lot, where if you get disconnected and you're still racing, the game will just auto-retire you. Very lucky here to not get retired in such a good position for Ferrari. We'll get one more lap under safety car, it would seem, as we wait for Fritzy to catch the back of the pack. One more lap under safety car before everything kicks off again. A 3-lap dash to the end. Shikari reconnects now. As we patiently wait for the safety car and Fritzy to catch the back of the pack and the safety car to go in at the end of this lap, I do believe. The third lap, it does seem like it will go in no matter what. Everyone just warming their tires now. Getting ready for the restart. It comes, the safety car should be in at the end of the straight. Comes that fast right-hander, the flat-out one. through the chicane. And I believe we'll see the call in a second here. Safety car's coming in, and it is in now. So Wayne will back up the rest of the pack now. See when he decides to go. He's still following the safety car very closely. The safety car is very slow through the corners here. I need to give it a bit more space. Way too close to the safety car. He's going to get up to the final corner. He's going to be able to control the throttle. And the rest of the field is still miles behind. This is where they're still not even gone to the back of Harry yet. 5 seconds out of the gap before even they got to the restart check. Just have something on with Shikari, and Shikari catches the back of them. Shikari really backing up the field here. And it's looking like Wayne's gonna get going any second. And look at the gap. Just look, Wayne is gone, and look at the gap to Shikari. It is 7 seconds. What has happened to Shikari back there? And it's still just 8 seconds. Shikari's had a nightmare on this restart. It's given them a full straight worth of time, and it is still a straight shot between Harry and Wayne now. Very odd, very strange circumstances there for the Ferrari. Further back we cut to the field, and it's all very spread out for some reason, but maybe something with the game there, something very strange happened, some mischievous things happening with it. But nonetheless, race is underway. Fritzy gets by Flavor, I believe. Flavor might have spun. Further ahead, Harry's on the back of Wayne, looking for the move in the slipstream. Nothing happening yet. Very spread out field here. As further back, very muffled and clustered up the field now from 5th backwards. Looking for moves here. The Ferrari on the Red Bull of Windex, I believe. It's looking like Irons on Windex. He gets it done round the outside. What a move there from Irons. Gets it done on Windex, and he's through, chasing after his teammate now, and Wayne and Harry. And Harry's gotten by Wayne. I missed the move, but he got him on the exit of the chicane, and Harry is through on Wayne now, into the lead, and Wayne on those old mediums will not be able to fight him. So that is a very race done looking circumstance for Harry there, as long as he doesn't get any penalties or something. Just needs to bring it home. Further back again, a train forming from Irons backwards all the way to Zola, and 3-car train right now. Very strange, very odd from what happened in the safety car from Shikari. I'll be very interested to see what happened after the race. But Irons sets his sights on his teammate, sending after him now. As DRS will be enabled next lap. Everyone just slipstreaming off each other now. Herbie behind Veli, not closing the gap, and Boothie on Herbie actually behind. Boothie gets past Herbie. Boothie on the back of Veli too now, as Booth gets another penalty for going wide there. Side by side with Veli. Will they make it happen? Veli backs out a bit, lets him go through, and Boothie up into P8 for now before penalties are applied. Still the train from Low throwing to back of the slipstream train now from Irons to P7 to Low. And it's looking like Windex is going to have to defend from Zola here. And Zola get it done around the outside. And Windex has been done around the outside again for the 2nd time in a row. And that you'll be very disheartened by that, perhaps. Done but the same corner the same way twice, 2 laps in a row. But he tries to get back at him with the slipstream. Irons is pulling away with the pace, as the gap's already stable out again. Low on Windex is pushing him through the corners of sector 2 now. All of Windex's pace, where's it gone? Might have disappeared a bit. He's just falling further back as Herbie follows to Hero Gemini. Gemini is up in the P9 now. What a move from making big moves from her too. Is Low still pushing Windex throughout the corners. Zola not pulling away as good as he needs. DRS is enabled now. And arriving on scene is Boothie with that pace, and he pulls to the outside of Low here, firmly alongside him. If he gets it done here, he'll be firmly impressed. Into the braking zone now. Does he get it done? And Zola gets a penalty, and Boothie just about clears him. Maybe some internet connection there issues. It looks like they were rubbing wheels for me. And Low gets a penalty too. Now Harry's got a penalty, and it is 6/10 Wayne needs in order to close the gap to get his win back. And Boothie is just scything through the field right now. He gets by Gets by Windex in a place you'd think he wouldn't, but firmly off track there. He does have a couple of penalties similar to deal with at the end of in-game penalties, and he's setting his sights after Zola now, draining all of his battery, looking for Zola, and he looks to the inside a little bit. He goes into the back of Zola very firmly there, pushing him through, pushing him off track. Very aggressive move from Boothie there. We'll need some more POV such from him. No merciless pass from him. It looked like. Then just straight going for the move wherever he can. Let's further ahead. Wayne on Shikari. Shikari's gotten by Wayne as well. After that start, Wayne's fallen very far on those mediums, and it's the final lap. Harry rounding the final two corners to come across the line. Has his first win of the season coming to the line now. As long as it's only that 3-second penalty, it'll belong to the Haas of XRL. Harry as he crosses the line. Provisional first down. Wayne gets it. Wayne with no penalties. Harry had 6 seconds worth of penalties. Shikari as well. So Wayne gets that win. Even with that maybe potential strategy blunder, he still gets the win. Just keep it clean on penalties, and all penalties applied. I'm really shaking up the order here, but Shikari P3. Wayne gets the win on penalties. And that is Harry in P2. Still a good showing from him in the Haas. First podium, I believe, for Haas in X2 this season. And what a finish. Very chaotic and messy finish there. I'll be seeing a lot of incidents later on with how aggressive people are being at the start and whatnot, but that is your order for now. As on his comeback, the return of the king, Wayne OS 316, the reigning champion, on his first race back of the season, claims the top spot again. Man, what a crazy finish. And that is your order right there. Claims fastest lap as well, pole the fastest lap and the win, the full slam. XRL Harry in the Haas from P10 to P2. Brilliant race from him. Shikari, a bit questionable on the safety car, but still manages to bring it back to P3, even with penalties applied. Zola P4. Lowe gets back to the top 5 after that spin at the start. The contact with Herbie, I believe. Irons P6 stays where he qualified, I believe. Flavor P7. Windex P8 from P2 in the Red Bull. Herbie P9. And Hero Gemini sneaks into the points from P13. That is your top 10, and what a just chaotic finish to the race there. A lot of things were happening, and there was a lot of things to wrap your head around at the end there. But that's how everything shakes out. For now, penalties will be applied later after the stewards take a look. We have X1 coming in about an hour's time. Everyone will be gearing up for that, and Zola will be your host for that. It's looking like solo comms, perhaps, maybe potentially. But that is it for round 5 at France. We'll join you all again next time, or this time next week, for Miami, I believe. So that is it for X2. See you all next week, same time for Miami.